how can you do this in a way that allows them to stay rooted where they are so that the fear factor, that risk factor is low, and design a series of iterative experiments that are small and low risk, but also high impact, right? And so doing this in these short experiments allows you to fail often and early, learn and learn and learn, be really honest with each other. What did we learn? What did we not like there? What do we need to change? And then move on to something else. And so what we can do is then build on this through a series of different products or different services, different ideas, different concepts. Okay, this one didn't work. We're going to shift it a little bit. We're going to do this thing, shift that a little bit, move over here. And then that actually sets the stage for the second thing we're going to do with this organization, right? We've now built this community. They understand what this new space is that you guys are moving into. Now we can move into the next thing. So keep building on these things as we move through in the experiments. So the experiments are not just interlocking, they actually help you build like a ladder on your tree, right? So part of that is, again, taking on the uncertainty. So Mighty Red Barn taking on the uncertainty, acting as that intermediate staff in a way that goes out and helps to build a community, takes that risk down for the organization, but also builds in, okay, here's step one, success or not, those metrics, right? How do we know we're actually making progress here? And so when we get through it, like when you hand over those keys to the car, right, is when the organization gets to that overall thing it was looking for. So there's, how do we build those kinds of metrics into the experiments to show the experiment was or wasn't successful? So always making sure you have those near term, middle term, and that vision at the end. Are we serving our communities? You'll always be doing the experiments, but they should always be in tune with that vision you have for the organization. Those are questions you always need to ask yourself. Is this actually helping us to learn what our next step is or our third step from now is as an organization? And if it's not helping you learn that within the scope of your organization, that's a great experiment, but not one you need to do. You can't just scattershot go run some experiments. You have to have a hypothesis. You have to have a strategic goal. How do we think about developing that vision, that generational vision for where you want to be, and then backing up from there and saying, what are those possible futures in the next 35 years? And how would I survive in these different scenarios? This is the kind of thinking you need to do, not just when you first start, but every 5 or so years, is to keep going through that scenario planning. Are these scenarios still true? Are these strategic focus areas still true? Are they going to help me get to the goal? How am I measuring progress over time? So very, very intentional thinking about where does this organization want to be? How is it going to be able to weather all the different things that come up between here and there? And how is it going to be able to pivot as it needs to pivot? How does it design those experiments to fit into those strategic goals? I think it's a willingness to fail. That if you are going to take this experimental mindset, you have to be willing to fail. If you aren't willing to fail, you can't experiment. And I think a lot of organizations are still afraid of failure. It's hard for an organization to buy into, I'm going to fail. No one wants to go to their CO and say, I'm going to fail, but that has to be part of this. You have to be willing to learn. I feel like we're designed as humans to learn. And why not take advantage of that?